Hi, guys, and welcome to the first ever Blue Dodge Garage episode. Let's see, where do I begin? Well, I guess I'll start with the thing that gave me the most problems with this truck, the carburetor. So, this is a Holley 2280 from, I don't know, the 1970s, and it originally came stock on my truck. So, there was a couple of issues, I had with pretty much everything. I ended up taking this one apart completely, gutting it, putting new gaskets, putting all new power valves, stuff like that. Everything. I did everything that I could imagine to this carb. And at the end of the day, it wasn't even the carb. I mean, it's an old carb. It has probably well over 100,000 miles on it. But there's a lot to do with the fuel distribution. Me, I was overlooking a lot of this because at the time it wasn't as twisted as it was, but fuel distribution was probably the one thing killing the whole truck for me. I picked up the truck, I don't know, about 6 or 7 months ago, hoping to getting it drivable and running so I could daily it and also work on it. I wanted a project car that I could daily to work every day. And I got it. It took months before I could even drive this thing. Just diagnosing and figuring out what is causing it to not run. And well, it was pretty much all the modules and fuel lines. So let's go ahead and pop the hood on this thing and walk around the car, and let me show you some things that I dealt with and the things that I fixed and the things that are still working and operating without being touched. Okay, so where do I begin? Let's go ahead and start with the electricals, okay? I went and swapped. Well, it didn't have a battery in it, actually. When I first got it, I put the battery in it from my old truck, and it was an Optima, so I wasn't gonna just let it go. And it's a 2017 Optima. It's still running till this day, but it's only because I've taken such good care of it. I mean, honestly, if I would have drained it or done stupid things with it, like throw it on a trolling motor and go down the canal, some crazy thing, it probably wouldn't have lasted as long as it has. But I'm satisfied with it still. Battery likes to sit at, I don't know, 12.3 lowest. So I'm happy with it. Now for wiring and electronics, kind of stuck with these two little 50 amp breakers. And pretty much power everything from the ECU to the ignition system to the electric system, the pretty much everything. They run off of those two little things right there, the breakers. Now, I know this one is the starter relay. I have yet to find out what that one does, if it's doing anything. But the ECM, the electronic control module, is actually located inside the fender well. And it's still operating, so I'm just going to leave it alone. Vacuum advance is hooked up right here on the front. And you know what? It works. So, not going to touch it, not going to go fucking with the wires and making this a whole different car. I would like to keep it as original as I possibly can, other than minor upgrades that I'm going to be doing to the exhaust, the intake, pretty much anywhere on the engine. I'll be doing upgrades. Shocks and suspension, I'm going to look into definitely, because ball joints and stuff like that need to be replaced. Don't really want to go out of my way and break down somewhere and then I'm screwed and have to be towed home. But for the most part, everything's all right. I recently replaced the center link that connects the two tie rod ends to each other and to the wheel, and that made my steering a lot better, I will say, just by driving it. I don't drive it too far. I drive it to the store and whatnot just to make sure like it's keeping up. Everything else, oil, transmission oil, perfect. Never had to touch it. Well, I mean, except for changing them. The engine and tranny is solid. I can't say anything about that. I haven't actually gotten into looking. I haven't even taken the valve covers off. It's ran perfect since I got it. As long as I put a new carb on it, which I slapped a new Amazon BBD carburetor on it, which that seemed to completely make this thing run like a brand new car. Now, like I said before, there was nothing super wrong with this carburetor, so I'm keeping it as a backup. Back to this now. So you can see the steel braided line, which I replaced for the other steel line that was attached and kinked at the end, causing my truck to stall out and die on the road because the bowl would just not fill up. And I couldn't figure out for the life of me why, but turns out it wasn't inside the carburetor at all. It had to do with the actual lines and the pressure. Now I am still using the 3-way bypass filter, so it's filtering gas and then pushing it back out into the tank, which I put a new sending unit in the tank. So the sending unit in the tank is beautiful. It looks awesome. It's got a sock on it and everything. Honestly, it runs better than any other car I've had. I want to go and replace the water pump and the radiator, but there's no reason to do it if it's not malfunctioning. So as of right now, I'm leaving it as is. Same with the alternator. Now, I've replaced the voltage regulator. I've replaced the ignition coil. I've replaced the distributor completely from rotor to cap to distributor itself. And I was meaning to upgrade it when I purchased it, but for a $40 distributor from Rock Auto, which I love Rock Auto. I'm just a big, like, if you're going to replace your car with stock parts, Rock Auto all day long. They have everything for cheap. As long as you're willing to wait, it's the best thing you could do for someone who is just starting out on this and you're on a budget. For me, it was perfect. Didn't have to deal with anything. I went and recently painted the frame. That's why you see nice black frame all the way back. No rust. There was rust when I painted it, but I just painted right over it. Who cares? It's an old car. I replaced all the fuel lines, everything. Here, all the way back. In fact, we can go back there because I can actually get underneath this thing and show you guys some things. But other than that, I did the ignition coil, I did the spark plug wires, I did the spark plugs. It's actually still operating on the original the choke thermostat on the carburetor. So when you step on the gas, you hit it once and it sets the choke perfectly every time. Never had an issue with that. I replaced all the hoses, the upper and lower hose. I did the thermostat. I did the bypass hose right here. This hose is still the same. I have yet to change that. It's got a brand new air filter in it. Kickback, kick down, kickback linkage, is perfect. When you step on the pedal, it's nice and solid. There's no like loose feeling. It's just all around an amazing car, and I can't believe that we've actually ditched this technology and went to all these bullcrap systems and all this like planned obsolescence. It's horrible. I'm in love with these old cars. If it was up to me, I would get a 57 Chevelle or something like that, you know? That's what I'm looking for. That's the kind of cars I'm into. That's the kind of stuff I like. If you guys know anybody who's also into this stuff or can help me get into more of this stuff and help my channel grow, please, please like, share, subscribe, do whatever. Tell your buddies that I'm starting this channel, and I really want to get into this. Like, I really want to get into Mopar parts. I really like the Chrysler Mopar industry for these style engines, not the newer shit. I hate the newer shit. Fuck the newer shit. But these guys. Now, let me take you back under the car. We'll inspect some fuel lines. I want to show you guys how I have that set up. So let's go ahead and go back there. So as of right now, I'm rocking the plastic tank. You already know. But this one line up here is the main pusher line. It's got the check valve going directly to the gas tank. And literally that's all it needs. It's just clamps and hose. Boom, you're done. Check valve. So the gas gets trapped up in there and it doesn't make your fuel pump starve and go bad. But pretty much all I did was put hoses on here, lined it up. It ran and drove perfectly. I mean, there's a lot of rust. Don't get me wrong, like a lot. But from what I've inspected, it's very solid rust. There's no major erosion. And if you guys see something that I'm not seeing, let me know in the comments. Obviously, I need shocks. It's not what I'm here to talk about. Exhaust as well. I'll be getting. I actually ordered headers already, and they're here. They came in, but I would like to paint them before I put it on, and then we'll go ahead and put cats and exhaust and stuff like that. I know you guys like straight piping, but I'm not into straight piping. I'm not into it. Number one, it's illegal as fuck. If you get pulled over, you get fined a couple $1,000 for emissions purposes. But I prefer the cats because I have kids, and they're going to be walking around this truck. They're going to be smelling all that fume. I don't want them to smell that shit. I don't care if it was like a joy for like the old community where people were like, oh, that's just what it's supposed to sound like or smell like. No. Cars don't smell like that. You can put a cat on any car, just about any car. Just about any car you can put cats on and get rid of that horrible, obnoxious smell that it's just not a good smell. You don't want your kids breathing in that stuff. I don't want to be breathing in that stuff. It gets trapped in the cab, and what am I supposed to do? Breathe it in inside the cab? No, I turn on the filters, blow it out the windows. It's an old car, so there's a lot of holes and stuff in the floorboard. If you look down here, there's holes where the exhaust just comes up, and I could straight pipe it, but I'm just not going to. I installed a radio. My vents work. All my gauges are working because I put the fuel gauge in for the descending unit, and that works. Put a tachometer in here, and all those things combined, that's all I need. That's really all I need. Well, including the voltage meter, which I'm only sitting at 12.2 volts because I was I was sitting in here just hanging out, charging my phone, my inverter. I installed an inverter on the truck so I can charge things. The cigarette outlet works, but I'm using that for my little portable fan. So, I mean, that's pretty much it. And the whole truck itself is solid. There's no rust in the floorboard, nothing like that. I was really happy with this buy. If you guys have any more questions and really want to know more about my truck, leave it in the comments. I'll make more videos about it. I'll continue to make videos about it. I enjoy making videos about it. So just let me know if you guys like. We can continue this in another video. Thanks for watching. On our first episode today, we covered topics like fuel lines, carburetor issues, exhaust. Let's see, what else did we cover? Emissions, stuff that I'm going to do in the future. And that's pretty much it. Seriously though, thank you for watching. Let me know if you enjoyed this video. Have a wonderful day.